פיינל, גם חברת הייטק שגם עושים שם כל מיני דברים טכנולוגיים. אנחנו מכניסים מעבדות דמיון בתוך בתי הספר, זה אחד כזה בחטיבת רדר, ובעוד מקומות אנחנו מכניסים מעבדות דמיון, ובאמת המון מעבר למסלול מכוננים, מסלולים ייחודיים, כמו טופוסופים, מונטסורי, המון דברים, פרויקט מצוינות שיש לנו בבתי הספר היסודיים, פרויקט צמרות של מצטיינים בעל יסודיים, וגם באקדמיה. אנחנו גם, למרות שבמדינה היום קשה לפתוח עוד מוסד להשכלה גבוהה, יש כבר ריבוי, אז לא מאפשרים, ואנחנו פה גם, לא רחוק מאיתנו בחוק ראשון לציון, יש פה כבר את האוניברסיטה הפתוחה שפועלת, במתחם עכשיו בית ספר רמון, יש לנו שיתופי פעולה עם האוניברסיטה הגדולה בסין, שפתחה קמפוס כבר בחום הגשימים, ואמורה לבנות מבנה קבע גדול בין הסיבים לשחם, בין השחם לרבין, וגם אוניברסיטת אריאל שתפתח איזשהו קמפוס ברחוב סטוטין בסגולה, כדי גם לתת את מה שנקרא, את ההמשך של הלמידה בתוך המסגרות הרגילות, גם אחרי הצבא ובכלל. ומעבר לזה, חוץ ממה שאנחנו עושים בתוך מסגרות החינוך, גם בחינוך הבלתי פורמלי. במתנסים, אם זה בדרך תנועות הנוער, בכלל יש פה מרכז שאנחנו עושים אותו גם ברמון, מרכז טכנולוגיה, על סמך המעבדות המשוכללות שיש בית ספר רמון, עד אחרי צהריים שמעון פה דרך המתנסים, אפילו שם חוגים נוספים. והכל כדי שבאמת יהיה לכם מעטפת שלמה, שתרכשו ידע ויכולות, ומי שרוכש את הידע ויכולות האלה, החיים שלו באמת עם הרבה יותר סיפוק והרבה יותר קלים ומעניינים מכל הבחינות. אז שיהיה לכם פה הרצאה מענה, תמשיכו לעבוד, תמשיכו לצרוך גם את הדברים החשובים האלה, גם המון פעילות של תרבות בתנאי שיש פה בלי סוף, אם זה בהיכלי התרבות שיש פה כמו היכל גולדה בארי בראון, ברחוב ארי בראון, אם זה בתוך המתנסים, ובפארקים, ובגינות, וממש ממשיכים להשקיע בכל הדברים, שיהיה לכם פה איכות החיים הכי טובה שיש. אז שיהיה המשך ערב מענה, ונתפגש בשמחות.
בוא תצטרף את הרבים.
רגע שמעון, אני חייב לשים עליו נק מייק שנייה לפני.
מה קורה, ויקטור? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Rami. Nice to meet you.
Victor, very nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
רגע.
תיקו בצד.
רק אחורה קצת.
רגע, ותתיק, שנייה.
נקרא לי עוד מי.
אבל ויקטור.
Oh, wait.
כן.
The picture?
We'll do it after.
רגע, שנייה רגע.
ראית אותי?
ויקטור, okay, put the neck mic on you? For... Yeah.
This is for this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this, if you have some pockets somewhere, this one can be here. No, use this one.
Yeah, I just want to turn it around.
Sorry, we don't time for picture.
Yeah.
How do you take it out
Yeah,
and turn it? This way.
No,
One selfie with
it's too fit. Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Yeah, perfect.
Like this.
This way, yes.
Perfect.
Perfect. Teamwork.
Yeah.
ממש, תסתכלו בעיקר.
Sorry.
Push here, just a second. Yeah, perfect. Great.
Perfect. How close do you want it? Up here or
No, here it's fine.
here's good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
And then here, let me.
Inside.
This is for my presentation to
Okay,
click through.
I'll put it
If okay.
It's okay if you can wait for me.
Is it already on? Powered on? Okay. All right.
I will be ready.
Okay. Two minutes, he will be ready.
The translation is text, like how do you say?
Simultaneous?
Yes, so you don't need to wait.
Okay.
It's as you speak.
Perfect.
And I think we'll do maybe 4 questions from the crowd, and then we'll
Can I take a picture with you?
I'm really sorry we don't have time. We're late to go on stage already.
Only 1 second.
Yeah, it's 1 second with like 1,000.
I'm sorry.
No one sees.
I'm sorry.
You asked and I said no, so you will...
Okay. Sorry. Yes. Thank you. Okay. I'm ready.
I put water
Okay.
there for you.
Oh, you put another one. Okay. Okay. Or will you help me remember to get the other piece of this? To get it back. Will help me remember because it's not in my computer this time. Oh, he doesn't know which presentation it is. This presentation. The name of it is Crew 1 PF.
לא ידעתי מה מושן, גם מושן היה איזשהו משהו על טוויטר. לא, מושן היה משהו על נהלים של טוויטר. וכאילו, אף אחד לא יודע על זה.
פולס, כן. לא,
כן, אני לא הכרתי. לא, הקטע הוא שכאילו ירין ידע על זה, מישהו ידע על זה, כאילו ידעתי על מה מדובר.
מה, לא? אמרתי, שני דברים פה. פספסת פה. אבל כאילו זה מטומטם, שאחרונים פעמיים, אני מתכוון להזמין לבמה את האסטרונאוט מר ויקטור גלובר, אז אני ממשיכה לדבר גלובר. מה, הוא פשוט יעלף ואתה ממשיכים לדבר יותר כדי? זה כל כך מפגר. מה, ילדים, מה אתה עושים? זה הסמלים. נתחיל? שבוע החלל הישראלי מתקיים השנה בפעם ה-11 ברחבי הארץ ובהובלת סוכנות החלל הישראלית במשרד החדשנות, המדע והטכנולוגיה. השבוע כולל ירידים, הפעלות, הרצאות מרתקות וכנסים חינוכיים ומדעיים לאורחים מהארץ ומרחבי העולם.
השנה, נושא שבוע החלל הוא Earth and Space Becoming One, ומתמקד בכל הדרכים שחקר החלל מקדם את החיים שלנו על כדור הארץ. בנוסף, השבוע הינו בסימן 40 שנה להקמת סוכנות החלל הישראלית, ובזיכרון ל-20 שנה לאסון קולומביה, ופטירתם של 7 חברי הצוות על המעבורת, וביניהם האסטרונאוט הישראלי הראשון, אילן רמון, זיכרונו לברכה.
אנחנו מתכבדים לארח לאורך כל השבוע 2 אסטרונאוטים מנאס"א, אשר הגיעו לספר את סיפורם וללמד אותנו על חווייתם ומשימתם בחלל. אני מתכבד להזמין לבמה את האסטרונאוט מר ויקטור גלובר.
ויקטור גלובר שיחק בפוטבול כשהיה צעיר והיה ספורטאי מצטיין. בעל תואר ראשון בהנדסה ולא פחות מ3 תארים מתקדמים בהנדסה אווירונאוטית של טיסות ניסוי, הנדסת מערכות ולימודים צבאיים. גלובר שירת בחיל הים של הצבא האמריקאי. הוא בעל דרגת קומנדר.
בנובמבר 2020 היה גלובר חבר בצוות הראשון של האסטרונאוטים שטסו על חללית הדרגון של חברת טסו האסטרונאוטים של נאס"א בחלליות הסויוז הרוסיות המגיעות מבסיס בייקונר בקזחסטן. בדצמבר באותה שנה, נאס"א בחרה בגלובר בתור אחד האסטרונאוטים מתוך 18 לתוכנית ארתמיס להחזרת האדם לירח.
I am honored to invite NASA astronaut Vיקטור גלובר to the stage.
Thank you. Nice job. Thank you. Very nice job. Shalom. Welcome. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you to the mayor and to all the parents, but most of all to the kids. Thank you for coming to hang out with me for a little while I get to tell you a little bit about my mission to space and some of the amazing things that we're working on. It's an honor to be here with you today. And so I'm going to get right into it. I know we're running a little bit behind, so we'll get started, okay? Can you hear me in the back? Okay. So I had the privilege to be a part of this group called Crew 1, the first operational mission of the SpaceX Crew Dragon spaceship. And we started off training about 2 years getting ready for this mission. And we trained in the space station simulator in the weightless training facility where we practiced spacewalking. And I love this place. It's a gigantic pool where we can float and pretend to be in space. And my favorite training is flying in the jets. I'm a Navy pilot, and so I love the flying. But all of that was training. It was all simulating and getting ready for the real thing. And this is no longer a simulation. This is when it got real. This is us getting ready for launch day. And so we walk out to the spaceship. And this same place that I have watched space shuttle crews, like Ilan Ramon, I watched him walk out of that building to go to his ship. And now I was doing the same thing and looking at a spaceship, and this time it's real. It's real. And we strap in the daytime, and as we're getting in the ship, the sun sets. And we launched at night. And my dad was in the audience, and he said, when the engines lit, it became daytime again. And I love this part. You listen. Not even gravity contains humanity when we explore as one for all. That was our motto for our mission. All for one, Crew 1 for all. And this is a really neat moment. So when you get to 100 kilometers above the Earth, that's what NASA considers space. And so I got a gold astronaut pin, and this is my commander giving me the pin in space. I thought that was pretty special. It's pretty special. And so it took us about 1 day, 27 hours, and we chased down the space station, and we finally caught it, and we're docking our spaceship to the front of the International Space Station. And then we were able to equalize the pressure, open the hatches, and go in from the small spaceship to the big spaceship of the International Space Station. And this was such a great moment to finally get there. Kate, Sergey, and Sergey were waiting for us. And then we got to spend the next 6 months, the next 167 days on that great spaceship, the International Space Station. Pretty amazing. So at any time, any one moment, we have 200 to 300 scientific experiments going on in the space station. I'm going to tell that guy to be quiet. I'm talking now. You hush. And so there are lots of different types of science, from life sciences. We work with small worms and look at them under the microscope, to physical sciences. We burn fuel. And this is a material. That's actually a piece of fabric burning. It's really interesting. You take droplets of fuel. We would burn droplets of fuel. And when you set those drops on fire, on Earth, fires look like this. In space, fire makes a perfect circle. Really amazing. Some of the science we do helps to make better medication, helps to make better health care for people on the Earth, helps us to improve battery designs, and it helps us to improve technologies that makes life better here on Earth. And one of the things I love in this video, just listen. Look at the faces and listen.
Station Space Ground 2, signals capture is complete. Work on devices.
We work really hard in space, but we work hard and we work happy because we love what we're doing.
Develop technologies and ways of using those technologies.
This is pretty good.
Healthcare and medical technologies that are ways to improve life on Earth. But even more important than that, I believe space has a way of universally inspiring people. Making folks want to do very challenging things to the best of their ability is what I think human space exploration does most for humankind. So the human aspect of human space exploration is always going to be very important, I think, for decades to come.
And in addition to how important that science is, I wanted to show, after watching this video, I've seen this video several times. I see it a lot. And what stands out to me is the response, the voices and the smiles, the crew. Even though we're working really hard for you, we're having a good time. We're working hard, but we're working happy because what we're doing is so important. One of my favorite things that we were able to do, one of the hardest working times on the space station, is when we do spacewalks. And we got to do 5 spacewalks in 45 days. That's about 1 every 8 days. And a really special thing, there's a spacewalk going on right now on the International Space Station. Did you know that? Right now, my friend Nicole and my good friend Koichi are outside on the space station at this very moment doing the same thing I did on my first spacewalk. Really neat. And so this is Shannon Walker put new cameras onto our spacesuits, and then they put us in the airlock and we depressurized, took all the air out, and then we went outside. And people say, what was it like the first moment you went outside? Well, you get to see it yourself. Beautiful, right? Wow. Wow. Well, then, when I was doing that, I wasn't saying, wow. I was saying, I got to get my work done. Don't mess up. Don't mess up. And so I was just crawling along, doing my work. I got onto the robotic arm, and then they flew me to the laboratory so I could install an antenna. And I was working on that for maybe 3 hours before I had to put in these electrical cables. So that's me on the robotic arm, and they're flying me to the lab. I go to plug in these cables, and one of them won't go in. And so that's the first time I had free time. I could look around, and the sun went down. It got really dark. And I'm sitting there looking at the earth, and I can see the city lights, and I can see the earth at night. And then the sun comes up. And sunrise on the space station is amazing, but when you're outside, there's nothing in the way. I can see the sun, the blue earth, and unlike on Earth, when the sun comes up here, it makes the whole sky light up because you have air and water in that air. In space, the sun is bright, but the background is still black. But the earth lights up, and it just looks so different than anything you've seen before. And I'm outside, and I'm just looking at the whole thing, and I was like, I'm really glad I didn't have to plug that electrical cable in, so I had time to look around. It was so perfectly timed, and it was this beautiful view that I got to see right there. And no one else had that view at that moment. It was so amazing. And we did 5 spacewalks. We improved batteries. All the new batteries on the space station, we finished those upgrades. We put new solar arrays on the space station. We put lots of new hardware on the outside of the space station. And the reason that we did that is because the space station is getting old, and we've got to continue to fly it until 2030. Does anyone know when the first piece of the space station was launched? What year was the first piece of the space station launched? Anyone? A little bit later. No, a little bit. Close. 1998. 1998. The first crew went to the space station November 2nd of 2000. Everybody in here who is born after November 2nd of 2000, raise your hand. Raise your hand. Put it way up there, way up there. I'm going to put my hand down because I'm not. I'm older than that. Listen to this. You want to know something really special? Keep those hands up, way up. You, raise your hands. Put hands up, hands up. Trust me, you're younger. November 2nd, 2000 or later. Everybody with your hands up. You are the first generation in history of humankind to have humans in space every day of your life. Every day. Did you know that? When Ilan Ramon was flying in space, we would go up for 2 weeks and come back. We would go up for 2 weeks and come back. We went to the moon. We would go to the moon, weeks, come back. The International Space Station, one crew goes up, another crew goes up, then they come back. There is always someone there. So your whole life, there have been people in space. Did anybody know that? Did anybody learn that for the first time today? Am I the first person to tell you that? Good. There you go. That's my purpose. So I think that's really amazing and something for you to be proud of. We've worked really hard to make that a possibility. I'm going to skip. This is a cool video, but so people ask me if I miss being in space. We work hard. We did lots of amazing science. I got to do spacewalks. I got to pilot a spaceship. But what I miss is this crew. I miss those people. We would eat dinner together. We would help each other with our work. And the time we spent together, we have fun like this. This is a video we made just for fun. This is the middle of the space station. So we pretend it's like a busy traffic circle and we're bumping into each other. We're just having fun. And we got to do the mannequin challenge. Have any of you heard of the mannequin challenge? Well, you can do really cool mannequin challenges in space. And Soichi, you thought it looked like a ping pong ball, but it was actually juice. And he was showing how we play with our food in space. This is our mannequin challenge. We can be on the floor, on the ceiling, on the walls. And I like to brag, we did that on the first try. It only took us one try. But we had so much fun. We had fun. We worked really hard up there. But we worked hard and we worked happy because what we were doing was so meaningful. So when people ask me if I miss it, and do I want to go back to space, it was really special. And I miss them more than anything. I miss those people. This is a really interesting snapshot. Those are still pictures, one after the other. People ask if you can see the stars from space. And this picture doesn't capture it, but you can see the stars, and it looks even better than this. That's not a video. That is pictures, one after another, and we put them all together so you can see the movement. But I like to show this because as long as the lighting is right, you can see stars from space. You can't see them when the sun is up, but you can see them when the sun is down. What were you saying, sir? Essentially it is, but it wasn't a recording. It was a snapshot because we had to, you're right. One image after another makes up a video. You're right. But those are individual pictures because this is actually challenging to do. It's hard to get them where they're not blurry. And so we took them one by one so that they would be clear. And this picture just shows you how the stars from space look even more amazing than they do from the ground. Because again, that water in the atmosphere, it's like looking at a painting, a black screen with dots on it. When you're in space, it's like being surrounded by the stars. You can tell that some are close, some are far. They have depth. You can see the dimensionality to it. It is amazing. You can see the depth to it. So after 167 days on the space station, we had to go home. So we got to practice. We put on our spacesuits. We left the space station for about an hour and flew around it and came back to the top. And we parked our space station on the top so that our friends, Crew 2, would have a place to park their spaceship on the front. And then after they got there and got settled in, we handed over control of the space station to Crew 2. And then we got to do it again, but this time it was to go home. We put on our spacesuits, we got in our Dragon, we closed the hatch, and we left the space station. It took about 6.5 hours. We have a deorbit burn, and then you have this entry into the Earth's atmosphere, and it's just the wind. The air resistance is what slows you down primarily, but you're going so fast. We're going 7,000 meters per second or 5 miles per second. And so we're going so fast when we hit the air, that friction turns into a plasma. The air just ignites on fire, and I got to ride inside of a fireball for 2 minutes. And that slows us down until the parachutes can come out. After that fireball goes away, these 4 parachutes come out and slow you down even further so that you can land gently in the water. we were very happy when those parachutes came out. And we also could feel it. When they came out, the spacecraft was rocking around. It was like a really interesting amusement park ride. And then that brought us down to a nice 7 meters per second splashdown in the Gulf of Mexico. And we landed at night. The first capsule to land in the water at night since Apollo in 1968. That was a really big deal for NASA. And they pulled us up onto the ship. They opened the hatch and everybody was happy and feeling great. And they pulled us out, and these facial expressions say it all. Happy dance. He's pretty excited. And we were all feeling really good. And one of the reasons everybody feels so good is because this is the first time in 6 months that we can actually relax. Our families know we're safe, and we're safe. Because every moment on the space station is a potential danger. Something could go wrong any moment. And this is the first time we get home to our families back in Houston, and Shannon's happy dance says it all. We're finally done. Mission complete. Well, at least that part of the mission was complete. So I have a new mission now. And my mission is to talk about this thing called the overview effect. If any of you are really like into NASA and you've heard this before, great, good. You can help me. The overview effect is how an astronaut is changed, how a person is changed by going to space. They see the world clearly. There's no borders, there's no labels. And that change in you changes how you see people. We're brothers and sisters. We're one people. But I wanted to connect that overview effect to the sea level effect, to what we have right here. One, maybe everybody can't go to space, so I want to bring that perspective here to you. And two, all of the things that make it special to see Earth from space, everything I love, every poem you've ever read, every teacher you've had, your mom, your dad, is down there on that rock. I love it. I was at a school, or where were we? Was it Kiryat Shmona? No. Which one had the spaceship? That was Mitzpe Golan. Oh, yeah, that was the great drive. We were in Golan Heights, Mitzpe Golan. And they had a poster that said, "Our spaceship." And it had a picture of the Earth. This is exactly what I'm trying to share here. The first spaceship I ever had was Earth. It's our ship. And being in space, I knew I was going to miss my family. That's my 4 daughters and my wife and my dog. I knew I would miss them. But being in space, I had this other really powerful feeling. I was flying from Canada all the way to France. It sounds like a long way, right? It took about 10 minutes. I was sitting in the cupola looking out the window, looking at the ocean, and the world is spinning by, and I saw the Bay of Biscay right by France, and I'm looking at the coast, and I'm like, wow, this is an amazing view. But you know, right now, I would trade being here to be down there to walk on that beach. I missed the Earth. I missed the Earth. My time in space made me feel like a human being. You know, the Earth people, we want to make each other into labels. You're a man, you're a woman. I'm military, I'm a pilot, I'm an engineer, I'm black. All of those things are labels, but while I was in space, I was just a human being. I was a human being. And that's the thing I want to share, is that we are all brothers and sisters. We're all human beings, and we're all a crew on this spaceship, on that spaceship that's called the Earth. So I'm going to end there because I really want to answer your questions. I hope you enjoyed this little glimpse of this mission. Thank you. Thank you. So, and if you don't have questions for me, I have questions for you. Okay, is there a microphone? Yes, please. Go anywhere. Yeah, please, you decide. You choose. Tell me your name and then the question, please.
My name is Maya, and I wanted to ask how it felt when you landed back on Earth after so much time in space. Did it feel weird?
Great question, Maya. It felt really weird. I have a daughter named Maya. It felt really weird. So, your body is quite amazing. It felt weird to adjust to being in weightlessness. And you don't have to stand up. You don't bear the weight of your own body, so your bones and muscles can get weak. But your brain goes, whoa, what are we doing? Okay, I got it. And you get used to it. Well, I came back to Earth, and it was like I put on a 200-pound backpack. And I was like, oh, I'm so heavy. I walked this far, and I need to rest. I'm tired. And to balance was really hard because I didn't have to balance for 6 months. And so if I wanted to stand still, it was hard to be still. I was a 45-year-old toddler. You know, like when babies are learning to walk and they can they got 1, 2, and then they fall down? That's how I felt, like I could fall down at any moment. I was lucky I didn't fall down. But it took me about 2 weeks before I felt comfortable enough to drive a car. It took me about 45 days until I was comfortable to fly an airplane again. And, but by then, that 45 days, I felt completely normal, back to normal, like before I flew. Good question. Let's go over to this side maybe, and then we'll come back to you. I see you, sir. Maybe in the back or on this side, okay? Name, question.
My name is Kafir.
Kafir.
I wanted to ask you, how your preparation before you travel in space? What you do before?
Oh, great question. So there's a lot to do. We had to learn about the space station. We had to learn all the parts because if something breaks, there's no one we can call to fix it, right? We have to fix it ourselves. I had to learn how to spacewalk. Я говорю по-русски немного, потому что мне надо читать процедуры по-русски. I had to learn to speak Russian because I had to read procedures in Russian. I might have had to fly a Russian spaceship. And so, but most important, it's just like being able to say, bevakasha, toda, bevakasha. Being able to speak a language makes a connection with people. So I learned Russian, and I love learning to speak Russian because of the relationship it built with my cosmonaut colleagues, Sergey and Sergey especially. But language training was a part of it. It was like going to school and playing a sport and working in a laboratory. I had to learn how to do things. Pipette. Oh, I don't know how to translate. Taking a liquid into a special tube that measures it to then put it into another mixture very precisely, that's pipetting. I had to learn to be a scientist. I had to learn to be a doctor. I had to give injections and learn how to put in stitches. Like if you get a really bad cut, to sew it up. In English, those are called stitches. I had to learn to give stitches. I had to be able to extract teeth. So many things. I had to learn a lot of things. But that's all stuff NASA helped me do. I also, just as important to me, I had to spend that same amount of time and energy getting my family ready for me to go to space. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know. There's no training plan, and NASA's not going to help me with that one. So I spent a lot of time talking to them. Hey, I took my family to a rocket launch where I could sit with them and watch and explain. So I did and it happened to be at night. It was actually 2 launches, one day and one night. And so I did everything I could to answer their questions to help them be ready. And then when I was in space, we got to talk a lot. So I did everything I could to get ready for the mission. Lots of training. We trained so much. It helps to not feel surprised. Even when things go wrong, you're so well trained that you feel like I can just do this thing and then I do the next thing. And there's a movie about that concept. Have you ever heard of The Right Stuff? The book and the movie, The Right Stuff, are about just that. You train so much that even when things go wrong, you know what to do. Good question. Good question. Can we take... Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
אנחנו עושים סלפי. סלפי קטן.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, here. We're both of us? Here, can I do one too?
כולם ביחד ככה תעשו שלום. הוא גם עושה עם שאלות.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And the discontinue.